let's talk about the MVP race for the NBA. I am an official voter. The ballots will be coming this week. It's going to be interesting, Rob. Usually you have a week or maybe two. I know it seems like you get a nice little chunk of time usually to do your votes. But now, Rob, with the new 65-game requirement where you have to play at least 65 games to be eligible for the awards, the league obviously has to wait to see who's eligible for the awards. And so, Rob, we're going to have anywhere from 17 to like 24 hours from the time we receive the ballot to put our votes in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot quicker. So obviously you can prepare yourself, earlier, but it's going to be a lot different.
If you start doing your homework, That's plenty of time.
But it's usually a lot long. Like even the things you vote for, I'm sure you get a lot longer.
Oh yeah.
Than that.
It's a longer window.
You get to really marinate on it. Yeah. But anyway, look, Nikola Jokic is going to win. I mean, barring like something changing drastically, Rob. We've seen the polls, the straw polls, 100 of the voters, and it's about 130
and
voters.
Like,
roughly.
He had 85 first place.
Yeah, he got 85 out of the 100. And you know what? I'm fine with him winning it. He's had a fantastic season. I would not have an issue with that. Interestingly, some people do. Gilbert Arenas, Rob, said that Jokic was the worst MVP in the last 40 years. Now, let me clean it up because a lot of people, are going at Gilbert for that. If you read his comments in the context and everything, Rob, he's saying that most, not all, but most of the winners have been on teams that finished first or second in their conference. And so when he says Jokic was the worst, he's talking more about him being on a 6 seed when he won the MVP a couple of years ago. And he was the first 6 seed outside of Russell Westbrook. And Arenas brought this up. Westbrook run it as a 6 seed, Rob, because he averaged a triple-double, which we never thought we'd see after Oscar Robertson did it in 1962. And Westbrook does it, and it's like, oh, my gosh, I voted for Westbrook that year, even though they were a 6 seed. Usually I'm like, you got to get 50 wins or more. But there have been a few that didn't win 50. Jokic, Rob, hasn't won 50. Now, one year he got it during the pandemic season. They didn't win 50, but they would have been on a 50-win pace, 50-plus win pace over 82 games. But Kevin Hart now, take this for what it's worth. He's a comedian. But, Rob, he said this. And, Rob G, was this on ESPN that he said this? All right. He said this, Rob. The NBA cannot give the Joker any more MVPs. It's not good for the MVP or for the NBA. Now, Rob G, did you see it? What did he mean? Did he elaborate? Because what did he mean by it's not good for the NBA? Or did he share that?
I mean, I didn't get to watch the whole broadcast because it was on during our show, but in the clips that were shared, it was, Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart, trying to make light of a situation and, just the idea that a guy like Nikola Jokic, of all people, unathletic, not exactly
who's averaging almost a triple-double,
right,
who won a championship
right,
last year.
Has he ever heard of Larry Bird?
Right, but, I mean, guys who have 3 MVPs, there's very few of them in NBA history, so that was kind of what he was alluding to, in a joking fashion.
You've got Kareem with 6, Jordan with 5. Is Russell joined? Look this, if you can, Rob G, while I'm talking about this, look this up. I think Russell has 5. Jordan has 5. LeBron has 4. And then Magic and Bird and Moses Malone have 3. Let me know if I'm missing anybody. And
did you mention Wilt?
Wilt, how many's Wilt got?
He's got 4.
Okay,
other than
Wilt
that, you're
4.
spot on, yeah.
And Bill Russell had 5?
Yes.
Okay. So some people are saying, Rob, Jokic doesn't belong in the 3, category of guys to win 3. I actually think he does. I have no problem. He's going to win it. I have no problem with that. I'll tell you in a moment who my vote will go to, or at least that's where I'm leaning right now. I think he's better than Moses Malone. As great as Moses is, and that's not a slight to Moses, because Moses is phenomenal. But I think Jokic is better. And so Rob, I think it's fine for him to be in that category of 3. And who knows? We'll see how many rings he wins. His numbers are going to be ridiculous. We'll see how many rings he wins. And then we can talk about, how does he stack up against maybe some of the other players. But also, Rob, MVP is not the only, way we measure these guys. Shaq only has 1. He's better. I put him ahead of Jokic. Kobe only has 1. Tim Duncan only has 2. You put him ahead of Jokic. So that's not the only thing. So if he wins it, he wins it.
Yeah, I think people are overanalyzing it. I really do. I think they're trying to fit him in a box. Well, he can't have more than this guy, but this is a different league, and the things that they value Chris and what he does is what he does, and now, right? So, and his team wins games, and his team has won a championship, and I think any question marks that anybody had about him just Kendrick Perkins saying he was just stat padding or whatever, he didn't stat pad during the postseason during the championship. He had a historic run,
triple-double for the entire postseason.
Exactly, he had a historic run. So this was against the best of the best, right, Chris? You're not just filling out stats against also-rans and all the other 20 bad teams in the league. No, this was the best teams in the postseason. So I think people got to let that go, and you just have to understand it's a regular season award. As you said, Chris, the Shaq and Kobe, they X'd each other out. They were on the same team, right? They each only got 1. It could have been different. Michael Jordan, I don't know what year he didn't win the MVP, but he only has 5. Like, it's not the end-all, be-all. So I think he's going to win convincingly. And I think it's a combination, Chris, of last year's narrative against him, his great postseason, the Nuggets are the number 1 seed coming off of a championship, and he's put up his same numbers. They don't have to be sexy but the same numbers.
Well, they are sexy.
But I mean the same numbers that he's at.
12 and 9.
Right, but the same numbers he keeps putting up that people that he's won other MVPs with. I like he won it with the same numbers, and now you're gonna say these aren't good enough.
Lesser numbers. He's actually won it with lesser numbers.
He's got better. These are better than last year.
Yeah, they're better than some of. Maybe not last year. He didn't win it last year.
No, I know, but
his numbers are better than at least one of his MVP years.
Okay.
So look, he's gonna win it. I will have no problem with him winning it. Let me give it to you quickly, Rob. His first MVP, he averaged 26 points, 10.8 rebounds, 8.3 assists. This year, he's averaging 26 points, a couple tenths of a point more than he did that year. 12.4 rebounds, which is more than he had his first MVP, and 9 assists, again, more. Second MVP, 27 points, 13.8 rebounds, 7.9 assists. So the numbers are terrific. I'm a voter, Rob, officially, and I look at 4 criteria mainly. 1, individual stats and your play dominance impact. 2, the team's win-loss record. 3, your supporting cast. And 4, historical precedent and historical ramifications. My votes right now at 5, Giannis. At 4, Jason Tatum. At 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At 2, Nikola Jokic. At 1, Luka Doncic. Now, Dallas is the 5th seed. Some people might say, oh, he's 5th seed. Well, Jokic won it as a 6th seed. And I won't even bring up Westbrook because we know he won it because of the triple-double. But Jokic himself won it as a 6th seed. I also think Luka's numbers, the traditional numbers are probably, I'd say, slightly better than Jokic's. He's leading the league in scoring at 34 points a game. He's second in assists at 9.8, and he's in the top 20 in rebounds at 9. And he's doing it efficiently, not as efficiently, obviously, as Jokic, who's a big, but he's shooting better from 3, gets to the foul line more. His team, Rob, they got 50 wins. So they're winning a lot. In fact, in the games that both of them play, Jokic's team is on wins at a 57 win pace out of 82 games. Luka's wins in a 54 win pace out of 82 games this year. And Jokic, I think most people would agree, has the better supporting cast. So I think, like I said, I think Jokic is going to win it. But I think, Rob, I agree with you. And I said this a week or two ago. Jokic started the season with an advantage, with a head start, because of the playoffs last year and because of a lot of people felt he should have won it. And actually, some people think race was a factor because of Kendrick Perkins made some comments. And also, Rob, analytically, his numbers are a little bit better than Luka's. And a lot of the new voters, the younger guys, Rob, some of them are almost entirely analytics driven.
Chris, we talked about it already. Like, they follow those. That's why I was a little surprised last year, because his numbers were better than the year before, right? If I remember correctly. And he didn't win. And I'm not saying that Embiid didn't have a great year either, Chris. So I'm not saying like it was outrageous that Embiid won. But it was weird that he had better numbers than the year before when he won the MVP, and then he didn't win it. And there was just a real narrative around him where people seemed to be hell-bent not to let him win 3 MVPs in a row, no matter what. And now I just think after that playoff run that we saw and the questions about can he win big have been erased. And I'm telling you, for Luka, Chris, it might be that for Luka. Luka might need a hell of a postseason to get people to be on board. Because I think
because last year, remember, they didn't even make the playoffs.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
he may have started with a deficit.
That's what I'm saying, Chris. Like, he needs that kind of run before people will, you vote for him. I don't know. Will he have 4 first-place votes? I doubt it.
I think you'll get more than that. I think you'll get more than that. I don't think he'll win. I don't think he'll come close to winning. But I think
when I saw the other one, Rob G, in the straw poll, did he have 1? Because it was like 85, 10.
No, he had 6.
He had 6.
I've had a few people hit me like, yeah, I think Luka should get it. So now these may not be voters, but they're people around the league.
Right.
But yeah, I think Luka's just been fun. Now they all have. And that's the thing too, Rob, is a lot of guys every year, the all-time greats that are playing in a general era, a given era, they always have great years. Karl Malone had a great year every year. So did Jordan, so did Barkley, so did Ewing, so did Olajuwon. And Rob, historically, you said Jordan only won 5. He could have won more. And that's why when I say taking the history into account, if someone said today, you know what? I'm just giving it to the best player in the league, period. I don't think that would be fair, because we're going to measure your MVPs against the other players in the past. And we didn't just give it when Jordan was in the league. We just didn't give it to the best player every year. When LeBron was was at his best, we didn't just say best player in the year. If you give it to the best player in the league every year, Rob, I mean, not who's the best? You almost don't have to play the games.
No,
you can vote before the season, right?
I don't think that should be the criteria.
Right. I think Jokic is the best player in the league, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna give him the MVP every year. But he's had an MVP worthy season. I do think he'll win it, but I think Luka's been MVP worthy as well. And number 1 in points, number 2 in assists. That's balling. So I got to give him his props for that.